right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to a special episode of the Filipino American Woman Project, also known as TIFA Project. And as always, I have my incredible co-host who just celebrated her birthday and is still celebrating her birthday, actually, at the time of this recording, Nani Dominguez. Nani, welcome back.
Welcome, everyone.
Nani, why don't you tell people where you're at right now and why we're having our audio is a little different than normal?
Yeah, we're not on our regular setup. We decided to keep it casual today because I am actually in Vegas for my birthday. My partner surprised me with a surprise trip yesterday. So we're just here for a couple of days hanging out, not really doing much, but just hanging out, getting a change of scenery. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that it was both our birthday month. And part of the reason why I'm mentioning that, and we'll get more into what our birthdays have been like so far and what mine is because for our birthday, it turns out this month, the Asian American podcasters were receiving nominations for podcast shows to participate in the Golden Crane Podcast Awards. And I just thought, Nani, how cool would it be if we win an award, for our show on our birthdays, as the best birthday gift ever. Yeah. And so basically I forgot how, when it all began, but I just want to give a shout out to our listeners who have gone out of their way to get our show nominated on the Asian American Podcasters website, which I believe is aapodcasters.org. And we got some great news to share. So we're ready to tell them, Nani?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, cool. So we are official nominees for the Asian American Podcasters Golden Crane Podcast Awards for 2020. So yay!
Yay. Thank you all for your help and your persistence, because I know the process for nominating was pretty complicated versus what at least I would have expected the process to be like. So thank you guys for pushing it through and getting us nominated. Yay!
Yeah, absolutely. So to our listeners, this is the official audio announcement of us becoming a nominee. So here we go.
Hello! On behalf of the Asian American Podcasters Association, we want to congratulate you as a 2020 Golden Crane Awards nominee.
We look forward to seeing you at the AAP Golden Crane Awards show that will be live streamed with video, and we're going to make history by broadcasting the awards show on Podbean's live stream app.
And to learn about all of the AAP shows in our podcast directory, go to listennotes.com. Once again, congratulations!
Woo! Aw.
Yay!
Well, thank you, aapodcasters.org, for that celebratory audio.
Yeah. And so in case our listeners are wondering what it means to be an official nominee for the AAP Golden Crane Podcast Awards, this award honors podcasts of distinction and overall excellence. While the purpose is to recognize and increase visibility of Asian and Asian American podcasters, winning a Golden Crane also encourages showrunners to further strengthen their voices and highlight their work. So also the fun thing too, Nani, is that this is their inaugural award ceremony. So the first time they're doing this. So how cool would it be if we win this award? And this is the first time they're doing it. I think it's always nice to be remembered as the first of something, right?
Absolutely.
And so again, we can't thank our listeners enough for showing your support. I know that some of you even reached out personally to say, hey, which episode should I suggest, or how should I fill this out? I just love our community, just showing up and representing. And so I want to thank you all again so much for that. It's so meaningful to us, and especially because the deadline was my birthday, and then the announcement that we became nominees was on your birthday, Nani.
Yay! I know, how fitting.
It's so perfect.
I feel like it's just too convenient. This award has to belong to us.
Yes, yeah.
But we need you guys' help. Do we need their help to get it still, or it's up to the...
So now, yeah, that's actually a great question. So people are probably wondering is there anything else we could do? Can we make sure that you win? Actually, they do have selected judges to go through the nominations and decide who's going to win what. So at this point, all we encourage you all to do is to, if you're available, the AAP podcasters are going to have a Golden Crane Podcast Awards ceremony. I don't know if it's called a ceremony. Let me check. Yeah, probably a ceremony. And it's actually going to take place on Tuesday, December 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern. So that's 4 p.m. Pacific for our West Coasters who listen to this, which is basically all of you. But if you would like to, be there like the day of and see if we win or not, it's actually free to register and to, attend this event, this virtual event. And so all you have to do is visit the aapodcasters.org website, which we will include in our upcoming newsletter. But yeah, we would love for you all to be a part of that virtual event. And it'll be live streamed as the recording had mentioned. Again, Tuesday, December 29th, 4 p.m. Pacific time and 7 p.m. Eastern time. So thank you all again. I can't say thank you enough. This is really a collective effort. This is because of all of you. I actually want to share a little inside scoop. I was attending the AA Podcasters Girls Night, and one of the co-founders, Lee, when I entered the room, she was all like, you are like the most enthusiastic person who's like applied for this award. And a lot of people nominated you. So I know that has a lot to do with our listeners. So again, thank you all.
Yes. Thank you. Salamat. Thank you.
Yeah. So other than that, that's pretty much like the big announcement that I thought I'd share. Just figured we also share some general updates, let you all know what we're up to in December. So I celebrated my birthday last week at the time of this recording, Nani. And I noticed that for your birthday, you celebrated it with like all your best friends and all that good stuff. And I thought I'd share, like for my birthday, I decided to celebrate it by myself. I got a Airbnb to myself like Monday night and Tuesday night, because Tuesday was my birthday, December 15th. And I wanted to just like do that. So I had like the entire day like to myself, because I realized this year, one thing that the pandemic brought out of me was to be like a crazy workaholic. And I think part of it was because of maybe that sense of guilt of like, well, I still have opportunities. Like I still am working, and it just compelled me to work, not just like in the work I do with my husband, but also just the projects and like the Tifa project, for example. And so to take like a day off where like I turned off like all my notifications for like the majority of the day. I'm not going to say all of the day because I treated myself out to like, actually I had a gift card to go to this restaurant that happened to be like just down the street from my Airbnb. But it was that time when I drank like 3 Sam Adams where I was like, okay, I'm ready to like turn on all my notifications.
Socialize. Yeah.
But it was just so nice to just completely unplug. And I know that in 2020, it's like a lot of us are doing what we can to stay connected and prevent feeling isolated. And so I like overdid that. I overdid that with like the social aspect and staying connected with people. So to have a day to myself where like, I was like, I need to connect with people, but I need to reconnect with myself again,
have some balance.
And so to have that day, I just have to say like, it's been quite transformative like since then, because one thing that I found about that day, Nani, was like, one thing I feel like in a weird way, I sort of stopped doing this year was like, actually like listening to my gut. I've been more focused on like appeasing external things and like appeasing like other people, where like on the day of, I told myself, I was like, you know what, today I'm just going to like follow myself at my own pace. Like, I'm just going to like see what I just feel like doing and not like try to over justify it and not try to tell myself like why I shouldn't do that. And since then, I feel like I've been like, rather than saying like, oh, what do they want? I've started to switch my mindset to saying like, well, what do I want? You know, and I think
that's also part of the pressure of having like a December birthday too, is like you're pushed into this time where we're supposed to be like reflecting and, there is that kind of like not tension, but like pressure of like, what should I be doing right now? You know, so I like that you just took the time out to honor yourself and you were like, you know what, fuck everything else. I'm going to do me today because I deserve it.
Yeah, it was like, it's been so transformative. Like, like I said, even now to just ask myself, like, what do they need? I kind of reframe that and say, well, what do I need? Or what feels good for me right now? Like I was thinking the other day, I was running around doing a bunch of errands and I was out for most of the day. And I started to have this anxiety of like, oh, like, does my husband need me? Like, do I need to be home right now? But then I stopped myself and I was all like, well, what do I want? I was like, well, actually, I like driving around just to drive around. So I did, and like, because it's like the holiday week, the week of the holidays or the major holidays, I guess you can say, like, it was crowded. Like, it was just crowded, like out and about. And I liked it. I liked, kind of being stuck in traffic and people watching and grocery shopping, just like just doing all that stuff. And when I came back home, I even apologized to my husband. I was like, oh, I'm sorry that I'm late. Like, I'm sorry I stayed out longer than I had planned. He's like, it's fine. He's like, it's
It's
totally
your
fine.
birthday. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, like here am I thinking that I have to report to people or I have to like, be there for people.
And he's like busy doing his own thing.
Yeah, he was like making dinner. It's just like
he's like, oh, I didn't even notice what time it was.
Yeah. And so that's the biggest thing I've learned from my birthday so far is kind of like getting it like, yes, I've built this like huge connection and community with so many people, but just reminding myself, like, I need to remember to connect with myself as well. And so it's been a really interesting experience sort of witnessing myself and seeing like, well, what do I want to do? Like what feels good to me? And, I think that's always going to be the forever conflict of being Filipino and American, having that Filipino side and like wanting to appease people. And just like what you said with the holidays, it's like, it's a time that you're supposed to be in community with people that you love. So, so anyway, those are my general thoughts about like my birthday and like, as I enter the holiday season, I'm just so glad I had that time to myself to remind myself like I matter too. And I can spend time and get to know myself.
Yeah, me too. I mean, as someone who I think I can say I'm pretty close to you. I could tell that, you really needed that time and that's really beneficial for you and like recharging. And I wish that you would do that more. You don't have to like go to the extent of renting an Airbnb and like turning off your phone and all that. But there are little things you can do, like how you found swimming and the group of Panays that you did a photo shoot with a couple weeks ago. Like there are just little pockets of like space and time that you can find for yourself and that you shouldn't feel bad about or that you shouldn't feel like you have to ask permission for,
Yeah, so true.
So, yeah, I'm very proud of you for doing that. And I love that you kind of took the unconventional route. I think being in isolation is making people want to like extra be like out and about. And, people are getting exhausted of the social distancing and the not seeing their families, especially around the holidays. I know that's really difficult. But yeah, honestly, I plan to do kind of the same thing, not like spend a day by myself, but just lay low and spend some time reflecting because I felt like that's what I should be doing. But my boyfriend and my 4 best friends had a surprise plan for me on the day before my birthday. So that obviously rerouted my plan. And then my boyfriend took me on this surprise trip yesterday on my actual birthday. So that also, obviously, I don't have a lot of time right now to be reflecting, but I will be doing that next week.
Yeah, no, I love it. But it's also like, I just think it's so wonderful that you have like loved ones in your life that are taking the time to surprise you for your birthday. Not to throw like Scott under the bus or anything, but he's not a big like, birthday/holiday celebrator.
Oh, trust me, Kat is not either. He was so stressed about this, like every 5 seconds, just on edge. And then all my friends were telling me after we got together the other day, they were like, yeah, he really was stressing over this. And I was like, oh, you don't have to do this again, but thank you.
One time is
the
fine.
effort. Yeah, exactly. I just like needed to see the effort and the initiative. And now I get that you care. So now we can go back. I'll plan our birthdays. I'll plan both of our birthdays. It's okay. I'll be the party planner between the two of us.
Oh, I love that. I love that he did something that was so unnatural for him for you. I think that's just like a testament about how much he cares about you. I'm not saying that Scott doesn't care about me, but like, I mean, we've been together for like a handful.
You guys are further along.
Yeah, we're further along. Yeah. No, I think he's trying to solidify your guys' relationship. So shout out to Kat.
He should be.
Yeah, for sure. But shout out to him. And it sounds like he did good by you.
He sure did. No, he's still doing good. We're still here. I feel bad because I've been so nauseous the entire time we've been here. I haven't even been able to finish one drink.
Oh my God.
He keeps like buying meals and I take like one bite and I'm like, I can't. So I feel kind of bad, but I'm going to hope that this tea is going to rejuvenate me back into my party mood.
Yeah. I'm the kind of person, like I'm a big like fiber drinker. So it's like just something I drink every day. And it's like, it just helps like cleanse my digestive system and stuff.
That's what I should get.
Yeah. So that's helpful for me usually when I'm like drinking, but I usually try to have like bread on hand as well. Yeah. So I have like a loaf of bread in the fridge right now. So I'm just like, oh, I'm going to go over there and make jam and
Stay
bread.
prepared. Yes.
Yeah. But I'm not always prepared. So I've definitely had a day recently where I was just like, I'm going to drink a lot just because I can. Yeah. And that was a very interesting day. So that's a conversation. That's a story for another time. But yeah, I mean, as we kind of in the middle of the holiday season right now, Nani, I just thought I'd ask you anything you want to share to our listeners, anything you want to wish to them, just anything we want to share, especially since this is going to come out the day of Christmas. So
Yeah. Again, I know I've said this before, like around Thanksgiving time, but it might look, the holidays look really different for a lot of us this year. Mm-hmm. And I just want to remind you guys that it's okay. If you see your family and you have to wear a mask around your family, it's not the end of the world. Or if you can't see your family for whatever reason this year, it's also not the end of the world. There are other ways to connect. I know it sounds cliche by now because everyone is doing everything on Zoom these days, but there's always Zoom and there's always that option if, someone in your family is uncomfortable. I know in my family, there are a lot of us that are okay being around each other. And then there are some of us that are not. And so our plans are to, get together and just Zoom in with the people that don't feel comfortable. And I hope that if that's happening in your families, you don't find that as a source of like tension or conflict, because to each their own. Everybody has their own way of how they're dealing with this pandemic and what they're comfortable doing versus not. And outside of that, we are always here for you. And, we intentionally are recording this episode to come out on Christmas so that if you do feel like you need that connectivity or, like family feeling, I hope that you find that here as well.
Yeah. Well, beautifully said, as always, Nani. Yeah. To our listeners, I just can't thank you again how grateful we are for you. I mean, you're not really our listeners, you're our family. And so maybe I need to start calling them family.
That's how I call you guys in our newsletter. I just say family.
Yeah. It's like, just the fact that so many of you have reached out to us and continue to engage with us, like off the podcast, whether it's through text messaging or DMs or emails, it's been a joy for us. It's affirmation that we are doing something right and something good. And
sorry to interrupt, but before I forget, can I share the email that we got most recently from, I think her name was Christine. You can finish and then we can go into that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that'd be great. Yeah. So we're just super appreciative and we want you to know that we're here for you. And, for someone such as myself who has struggled with seasonal depression annually around this time, I want to share with all of you that I'm feeling pretty good this week, to be honest. Last Friday, I was talking to my couples counselor. And then yesterday I was talking to my therapist for myself. And honestly, I think after my birthday, Nani, that depression went away. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that I think I just needed time to myself, so I just want to let you all know that, I'm doing okay and I'm doing a lot better. And I feel really hopeful for the rest of the year and what's to come in 2021. And I just hope that in me being candid and transparent about my journey that, you'll do what you can and discover what you need to do to continue to stay safe and sane and healthy. There's one thing I want to share, Nani. So I was talking to my therapist yesterday. Her name is Kathleen. So shout out to Kathleen if she ever listens to this. But I was telling her, how I have an issue with meditating. I just can't do it. I just don't. So I was like, to our family who's listening to this for the first time, I'm just awful at sitting there and meditating or breathing and stuff like that. I've tried different variations of meditating and none of them have stuck. But anyway, I was telling her about swimming and I said, I've come to, for me, swimming has felt meditative because I have to practice breathing. All I can do is focus on swimming and not drowning. And it's the one time I get to unplug from everything. And she said to me something really affirming that I didn't realize I needed. She said, hey, everyone meditates differently. And if that's your way of meditating, so be it. That's your way of meditating. And I was like, oh, I didn't realize I could do that. So I meditate, y'all. I just do it when I swim.
In my own way. Yes.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
No, that's beautiful. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Meditating is something that's extremely difficult to get into, especially when you're not used to just slowing down and not even slowing down, but completely stopping and doing nothing and trying to empty your mind. It sounds like such a simple thing, but when you actually sit down and try to do it, it's oh, hell no, this is, someone has to pay me to do this because it's just so difficult. So, some people do need their senses or their body or some kind of movement or, to be occupied basically so that you can get into that meditative zone. Right. And she's right. It looks different for everyone. And I'm really glad again that you found swimming to help you.
I feel very good about that. I was like, yes, someone affirmed that swimming is a form of meditation and I'm going to stick to that.
100%.
Yeah. So you mentioned that we had someone that emailed us recently. Why don't we give them a shout out and share what they shared with us?
Yes. So shout out to Christine Haba. She sent us an email, and I will try to read it quickly because it's kind of long. She said, I just wanted to reach out and say thank you for creating a space for me to learn and develop as a biracial Filipina. I've lived the majority of my life in Nebraska and have only fully accepted my ethnicity within the last 2 years.
Wow.
I believe that especially with the isolation of being in a rural area of the Midwest, it has been difficult to find circles that would let me be authentically me. My own mother gave up so much of her identity to assimilate into the culture. I'm grateful to have found a digital and virtual circles that help me release that shame of not being American enough. I blast these podcasts when they come out, and they fill me with inspiration, comfort, and self-acceptance. I can definitely say that not only have they helped me develop professionally, but your podcast allows me to bring my Filipino-ness to my professional career in higher education. I believe that being seen as a person of color in a higher position is no longer enough to eradicate the implicit bias many of us experience in these institutions. The values we've been given through our culture are necessary in recreating a successful world for us all. Looking forward to more of your podcast. Kapatids, Christine. We love you, Christine. Thank you.
Yeah.
I already responded to her, so she knows what I have to say. But yeah, something that I told her is that feedback is just truly like the best reward for us doing this show. And we love to hear, that kind of impact that the show is having on you guys. And it is our goal to create that safe space for you to explore these things and, rethink the way that you've been taught or conditioned to think about things. So it means the world to us to hear that. And thank you again, Christine.
Yeah. So Christine, you mentioned that you're going to blast this every time, the next episode is out. So we're blasting you right now.
Yes.
On our podcast. So shout out to you.
Shout out to Christine.
Yeah. And seriously, thank you so much for making yourself visible to us, because it's one thing to just be a listener, and it's one thing to actually reach out to us. Cause I always like to remind people, Nani, we're just human beings that happen to have a microphone in front of our mouths. Sometimes a microphone, sometimes just what you have.
Some AirPods.
Yeah, some AirPods. We knew that we needed this. And the more episodes that we put out there, the more we're coming to find that our community needs this as well. And so I just want to thank you again for making yourself visible and seen to us. And I hope this won't be the last long email that you send us.
Yes, I told her we welcome the long love letters. So hopefully we'll hear from her again.
Yeah. One thing I like to do in case people are like, oh, not that anyone's ever said this, but if they say oh, I'm afraid to send you a novel. Well, just FYI, I like to have Siri read for me, and sometimes I speed up the audio. It's not to say that I digest it any less, but I don't care how long you send it to me, because I have my way of digesting things that I read. And, obviously as a podcaster, I listen to things at 2 times speed. So the length of what you send me doesn't matter. And honestly,
irrelevant. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, it's so fulfilling to, again, know that people like you exist and that we're making a difference in your life. So Christine, you probably weren't expecting this long of a shout out to you, but thank you. And I hope that, our listeners, our family can be reminded that, yes, you can email us, you can message us, you can let us know the day of Christmas that you're feeling lonely. We're a family. And I want you all to remember that and, keep that in mind in the new year, because we don't know what the new year is going to look like, so, right. But I think the one thing that, despite how chaotic 2020 has been, I think the one thing that can keep all of us sane is to stay connected with one another and be connected to oneself, as I had learned on my birthday, and, value yourself and value mental health. If, your mental health, especially if you need help, if you're questioning if you need help, you probably do need it. And that's okay. We all could use a little help, right? I have 2 counselors that I talk to right now, amongst pen pals that I confide in and stuff. And it's just been a great way to, make it through the year. But yeah, Nani, I think that's kind of it. That's pretty much all we have to share right now. We're just, by the time this comes out, it'll be on Christmas Day. So we just want to remind you all that we're thinking of all of you. We appreciate all of you. And remember, if you want to see live, if we win an award, to check out the AAP Golden Crane Podcast Awards ceremony, which will take place Tuesday, December 29th at 4 p.m. Pacific time or 7 p.m. Eastern time. I had to think about that for a second. And I should mention this one more time since we didn't bring this up at the beginning, but if you want to text us or leave us a voice message, our phone number is 415-484-8329. So again, that's 415-484-8329. Yeah, that's all I have to share, Nani. Any closing thoughts?
That's it for me too.
Okay,
Merry
cool.
Christmas.
Yeah, well, Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. And hopefully we'll see you live next Tuesday on December 29th to see if we win or not. Either way, Nani, I'm really indifferent to if we win. I'm just so grateful that we have been recognized. I'm so grateful that our community has come together to even get recognized. And whatever happens, I'm going to keep doing the show because it's your feedback and your emails and your DMs and your text messages that matter the most. That's the ultimate award, honestly, is hearing from you and being in community with all of you. All right. Well, we are going to enjoy, I guess, the rest of this holiday break. We'll chat with you all again in the new year. Crazy.
Bye-bye, everyone.
All right. Bye, everyone.